Okay, everyone. Looks like we're about ready to go. We may or may not have some more trickles in, but we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone, to the HMIS Agency Admin Training Webinar for this May 25th, 2021. I am Michael Sheriff, HMIS Program Specialist. I will start off by introducing where it looks on my video from the top, and we'll pass around and introduce everyone, and then we'll get started. So first, Alexis Claremont, please.
Hi everyone, I'm brand new to the team. My name is Alexis Claremont. So excited to have this first agency admin training webinar with you all. Looking forward to the next one in June as well.
Curtis.
Hi, my name is Curtis Hahn. I work as a business analyst on the HMIS team. So I'm all about the data and the reporting. So when you have a data and reporting question, it's probably me who gets to answer it.
And Stephanie.
I am Stephanie Grader. I'm one of the HMIS program specialists.
Dakota.
Hello, I'm Dakota Leonard, and I am also one of the HMIS program specialists on the team.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so on today's agenda, all of this will be relevant for both balance of state and Maricopa continuums of care. So we'll be talking about, of course, the agency admin webinar purpose. Some webinar reminders. Dakota will go over some webinar reminders. I'll throw out an announcement or two. And then we are lucky enough to have Chris Mahler. Welcome. So we'll do a quick talk with Chris Mahler interview. Again, thank you for coming, Chris Mahler. And then we'll have a bit of data discussion from Curtis, and we'll go from there. Talk about some of the things that are important and happening in HMIS world. So first, please, if you would, Alexis, our webinar purpose.
Yes, thank you, Chris, for joining us today to do the interview. So, same policy and process as our traditional webinars. Our purpose is to provide consistent guidance to primary points of contact about our HMIS workflow changes, our policies, data entry and reporting, so that everyone's able to instruct their teams to maintain the integrity of the data within the homelessness system. So our team is poised with these current tasks: communicating all changes to workflows and systems, providing ongoing training with your agency surrounding HMIS software, reviewing in-system reporting functionality, reviewing and enforcing the HMIS data quality, security, and our privacy plans, and then discussing how HMIS data is used within the community. It's extremely important for us to make sure that we're communicating effectively. If you have questions, comments, or concerns with regards to your HMIS data and systems, always make sure you let us know what we can do and how we can be supportive so that we can get you what you need for the community.
Okay, so our webinar reminders for today is to share any relevant information with appropriate staff at your agency and to ask questions using the Q&A function. Attendance is collected by program. So keep in mind that your agency's attendance is required, but we will always make a recording available later for those who are unable to attend. The recording and notes will be sent out by Tuesday, June 1st, and the deadline to complete the video and quiz for the webinar, for everyone who hasn't attended today, will be Friday, June 4th. Thank you. And now on to Michael.
Thank you very much. So announcements, there's actually only one quick announcement today. HUD has released the new data standards for 2022. We expect to implement those by October 1st of 2021. We're not going to talk much about that today. You can view the HMIS data dictionary available at www.hudexchange.info. The website is available right here on the announcements page, and we'll send that, of course, out in the agency admin webinar notes. And we will have much to discuss in the future about how those changes will be implemented.
So this is my monthly data quality commercial break. Today we're going to talk about how and where you enter data, and that really does matter. I would say stop me if you've heard this before, but I'm afraid too many of you would stop me. Always make sure that you're correctly EDA'd into the program. I know this is something we say all the time, but it really is important, and it is the first and key step to making sure that data entry is entered correctly. EDA does affect visibility and ensures that the right people and agencies see the data you enter. It's really important for protecting clients' information that we are EDAing correctly and making sure that that is only in the project it's supposed to be in. We do receive lots of tickets and lots of issues with reports with data being entered in the wrong place, even if that is correct, because EDA wasn't entered properly when you begin. The other spot that's really important is that when we update assessments, that we're always doing that from the entry exit tab. So if you're updating an assessment, if you need to change a client's income or any other information that's in the assessments, always do that through the entry, update, or exit on the entry exit tab of the client page. Again, this does also ensure the proper visibility across agencies and ensures the most accurate reporting. Those are the two quick data quality concerns we had. I think we're going next to the interview with Chris.
We are. We absolutely are. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today and being so open and willing to participate within the interview. So there are 4 questions, and let's go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
I absolutely am. Let's go.
All righty. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background with regards to data and the HMIS system?
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody sees my name's Chris. I work with Catholic Charities in Northern Arizona, covering Mojave, Coconino, Apache, Navajo, and Yavapai counties mostly. I've been there for a little over 4 years and have worked with HMIS basically that whole time. When I started with Catholic Charities, I focused mostly on data entry just to make sure that things were being entered consistently across the board, because there were some problems with that. But more recently, in the last year and a half or so, I've shifted focus towards analytics using data both on and off HMIS. I'm currently in the process of addressing some of our organization's data pipelines to hopefully make it a little bit faster and easier for our case managers. So that's my current big project. And I think that covers it.
Awesome. So what do you enjoy most about what you're doing and your contributions to end homelessness?
Yeah, I think that there are maybe 2 or 3 things that I really, really enjoy doing this kind of data work. The first thing is just personally for me, I love, solving problems. I love being that person who has the aha moment, who can solve that problem. And I get to do that both troubleshooting with our case managers when they have questions, but also looking at where the problems in our data are so that we can make sure that the reports reflect them correctly, and finding out where the systemic problems are with our case management practices or some of our contracts, things like that. And that's always very fulfilling to me, looking back and watching numbers grow, the number of people we were able to move in who found permanent housing, who didn't have as much recidivism as in previous years, things like that. I think that's really what keeps me going.
Awesome. So you spoke about your role with your organization. What does a typical day-to-day work look like?
Yeah, there are definitely some ongoing tasks. So some things that are consistent from day to day, but every day is totally a new adventure. besides that, a typical day, I would say, starts with looking to see if there are any new entries, updates, or exits that the case managers send me that need to be reflected in HMIS. Then I usually take the time in the morning to work on ensuring that that data is clean, do a little bit of quality analysis and make sure that it's ready for reporting. And then I move over into whatever analytical tasks that we have to work on. So the afternoons have been lately working on developing ways that we can track, for example, racial equity data. Yeah, and besides that, like I mentioned, I've been developing new applications to improve our data pipeline. That's been taking a lot of our work and helping case managers sort of navigate all of their data questions, both sort of governance and compliance and technical questions. And besides that, like I said, there are ongoing tasks such as preparing the prioritized by name list for our case conferencing group, but every day is different.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Is there something new and exciting that your agency is doing that you'd like to share with us in the group?
Yeah, when I shared with Cami Rasband that I would be doing this interview, she said, make sure to mention two things. The first thing is an exciting piece of news. Catholic Charities, as many of you know, had terrible timing with the Bullhead City Shelter. It got constructed. The last moment of construction was April 2020. So as soon as construction was done, we were in lockdown where COVID hit. And our risk management team asked us to keep it vacant. Over the last few weeks, we've opened it up and welcomed clients for day services such as meals and laundries. We haven't yet officially opened it up for overnight guests, and I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but I will say that I've received some requests for data looking into potential referrals on the family side of the shelter. So it sounds like there may be some reevaluation in progress, and there might be some updates coming soon on that. So we're really excited about that. The second big thing, and I think this is taking place tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, our day center in Page, Arizona, which was a collaboration between Catholic Charities and the Page Police Department, actually will be opening up to offer services to clients face-to-face, whether they need that. So we're really, really excited about that. And otherwise, it's just chugging along.
Congratulations. Congratulations. That's awesome. And then finally, how does your organization use HMIS data and reporting?
Yeah, we use the data in almost any way that you can imagine. So, besides the typical APR, CAPER, and 0252 reports that we use for compliance and reporting, we run a lot of 640s to help us determine lengths of participation of clients, as well as making sure that we have a good understanding of who is and is not enrolled. We have several contracts going simultaneously, so sometimes we have to make sure that people aren't sliding through the cracks. We have several custom report writer reports for our QA processes to make sure that our internal dashboards are up to date with those. And we additionally track data to ensure that we're following best practices in terms of case management to make sure that we're really being sorry, I lost my train of thought, as housing first, I think is what I was going to say, as possible. Recently, our LCEH's group in Coconino County started looking at data to ensure that we're serving our community equitably in whatever ways we can find. We often get requests, for example, to find out how we're serving the community coming out of incarceration into homelessness. So we're making sure that we're identifying people in that situation and making sure that they know that there are services available to them. As well as doing some analysis on race, gender, age, seeing if we can find any tendencies or gaps there to address our practices and make sure that we are making sure our community is well served and reasonably served. Yeah, and I think that's it.
I love everything that's happening up there. If and when I can ever take a trip, I'd love to come see the facility. It sounds like everything is going very well for you all. I'd like to thank you for taking the time with us today and allowing me to conduct the interview. And thank you for sharing what your agency is doing in our realm. We appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my pleasure to be asked to do this.
So we might be needing future interviewees, all of the participants. If you have some great things going on in your system, let me know. You can totally be a part of this interview process.
We actually had one question for you, Chris. So Anna Lucero asked, thanks for sharing about your work. Can you talk more about how you're tracking racial equity in your work? How are you using HMIS for this? Is there a specific report?
Yeah, absolutely. So for racial equity, we're looking at it from a couple of different angles. One angle that we're taking is just looking at the percentages of people who identify in different races from the by name list to see the percentages of the population we've captured, and making sure that lines up more or less with the percentages that we're seeing in our own programs, which those typically come from a report that I wrote in Report Writer. And otherwise, there are a lot of tools from the by name list that we're using to track that racial equity, excuse me, and compare it with the US Census data that we can find to make sure that we can see where there might be systemic problems sort of above our heads for people falling into homelessness in a more representative way than the census would suggest. So for example, in Coconino County, we definitely see one tendency in particular that we've been looking at, where I think 47% of the clients, I think it was last I looked, identified as American Indian or Alaska Native, whereas I think 23% on the census data identified that way. So we're trying to make sure that we can look at that and see if there's anything system-wide that we can change to make sure that that is not the case, if there's anything we can do to prevent that from happening. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Anna. Feel free to send me a chat message if you have more questions.
Oh, awesome, that's great. Thank you, Chris. So I did want to talk about one report that we've been using specifically for programs that are funded for the Community Development Block Grant. But I think it's a really good representation of some of what ART's capable of, especially when there's specific fields and needs for a funder and reporting wise. So it's one that we're really proud of, that Sam on our team spent a lot of time developing, and we've actually done a few things to alter it. So I'm going to go through just sort of where the report's at, how to run it, and then let you guys see the report and go through some of the fields. The report was designed to assist in the reporting for the Community Development Block Grant reporting. One of the things when running this report is adjusting the reporting prompts correctly. They're a little bit different than some of our other reports, but it's really essential for the report to run correctly with both the year-to-date and month-to-date functionality. The detail tab on that report will also allow you to audit the report on some level, so you can go into the system and check if you're seeing issues or something that you don't quite think lines up. So I'm going to steal the screen share and jump over to ART and show you where that report is located at. So once we're in Service Point, we're going to go connect to ART, and I'm going to get an error. This error is a common error that happens. When that happens, what I do is I go back home. I'll shadow any user real quick. And once I get on that, I'm going to just immediately unshadow. And that normally resets the system. So when that scheduled reports error comes up, it should then load correctly. Once in ART, this report's located in the public folder, and then the common agency reports folder on the Maricopa side. Once you get in the common agency reports, it's on the next page, and you'll find a CDBG count report. And then we'll schedule that report as normal. And because I'm sharing my screen, it'll take forever. When I'm not sharing my screen, it comes so much faster. And then we'll see some pretty standard prompts: an effective date, provider. And then where it gets a little bit unique is we have a grant start date, as well as a new month and new month start date and new month end date. The new month end date should always be the same as your effective date. And the grant start date should be for the year that the grant year is running. And the new month is the month you want to report on. This is covered in a little bit more detail here on our CDBG reporting prompts, which we'll send out with the notes this week. This outlines how the reporting prompts function for the CBDG report. So there's 6 prompts: the EDA provider, which does not need to be changed; the provider field, which should be the provider that you select, and can be run for any report, but is typically run for a CDBG funded project. The grant year start date is the beginning of the fiscal grant year, and the prompt will be the same for the entire duration of the grant. New month start and new month end date are the dates you want to begin identifying new clients, and the last date the report should be looking for new clients of the grant. Under here, you'll see some examples of what that might look like. In this example, we're identifying new clients for the month of August. And it follows the exact same instructions up here, and you'll see that the grant year started on 7/1, and the new month starts on 8/1, and the new month ends on 1+ day. So for the entire month of August, we'll be saying this will be our new clients for that month, as well as our year-to-date clients starting on 7/1 and ending on 9/1/2019. And then this is the same idea, but run for September. So where I think this report is really cool is once you get into seeing it. So I'm going to pull that up now. Let me jump back to the first page. And so this is where those prompts get really important. You'll see a month starting on 3/1/2021, as well as the year to date. Down here is a client total, so new clients served in the month of March, as well as the year to date total for that project. This is a breakdown of races that were served, as well as those who ethnicity is Hispanic. And we get that for both the count of the current month as well as year to date. I think it gives a really good idea of how your project's functioning and who's coming in and out of that project, both for the month that you're serving them as well as for the entire year. We also have a gender tab, which will break down the gender of clients served, as well as the head of households. So it will identify female and male head of households for the month, as well as for the year. On the next page, we get an age breakdown. And this will give you, again, the count of ages in these ranges for both the month and year to date. And then a breakdown of some of the key figures for CDBG reporting, as well as just some of the key UDE elements that are often recorded and requested. So disabled individuals, veterans, chronically homeless, domestic victims or survivors, those who struggle with substance abuse, and those who are released from an institution such as jail or prison. The year-to-date tab is the details tab we were talking about, and just gives a breakdown similar to the UDE demographics report of some of the basic demographic information that's getting pulled in the report, as well as a tab you can filter for new clients, which will show you if a client is new. Let's see if I can filter that quickly. So if I filter it for new clients, these are just clients that were served in the month of March. Additionally, this report has an income section. This income lists the income for each client and the monthly amount. Some of the updates we've done for some providers on this report is adding a tracking for annual monthly income, which is part of community development block grant reporting, and base that on the standards for the community and family size to accurately represent that and supply the information for the funders. And with most of our reports, again, the additional information tab, which I stress in our art trainings, that is one of the most important tabs because it does allow you to see what the prompts were written in for the date to make sure that your effective date was right and what providers the project was run on. See if there's a couple questions in here. I did see that typo too. You are correct. The report does only pull in unduplicated clients, which is super useful. It absolutely can be used for a non-CDBG funded project. You're just going to make sure that you keep the grant start date consistent so that you're reporting for the same year. And then your month date for whatever month you'd like to have the new clients pulled in for. So there are definitely some creative ways I think this report can be used, and is just a good example of some of what art is capable of, and what we'd be interested in trying to help you develop if you have specific issues that you need to pull information for a funder. If there's not any other questions, I do believe that's all we have today. I'm going to give back my screen to Stephanie. And we're going to conclude this meeting today.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. If your question wasn't answered today, please submit a ticket to the help desk. And your feedback is really important to us, so please look out in your emails for a 4-question survey that we will be sending out. And have a great day. Thank you for attending. It looks like we did have one more question. Is there a place where you post all of the reporting directions for items you have trained on during these meetings?
Yeah, the name of the folder that was in the common agency reports on the Maricopa side, and I'll have to double check for balance of state side if it is located over there, and if not, I can easily pull it over to that side and have it saved.
Okay, thank you, Curtis.
For a place we post all the directions from these meetings, there isn't a set place. We do upload all of the information to YouTube, so you can rewatch a meeting. For the notes, I'm not sure if we have notes. But if you ever do need the notes, like the report prompts that I showed today, you can always submit a ticket to the help desk and we'll make sure we get that sent over to you.
Thank you so much for attending today.
Thank you. Bye.